All right, guys, when it comes down to the next round of stimulus negotiations and what's going on in politics today, Joe Manchin is still standing strong in regards to how he feels that Congress, or at least the Senate, should not vote yes on the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. But when it comes to Chuck Schumer and Bernie Sanders, they're not slowing down at all. We're going to talk about that, as well as even though there's stateside, citywide benefit money that's been sent out to all the states to help you pay for rent, landlords are still suffering. Many of them are homeless, but many of them are not just broke, but broken. We're going to talk about that also. If there's going to be a next round of stimulus payments that's going to be added to the infrastructure bill or a separate bill, the first group that we believe should be receiving the next round of stimulus, or the fourth round, are those that are on SSI, SSDI, Retire Railroad, Representative Payee, VA. Those individuals that are on disability as well as survivors, you should be the first ones. We're going to tell you why here on Mostly Money. Well, my name is Andre. You're watching Mostly Money, where you're going to get all facts, no fake, no phony, and no fluffed up information when it comes to what's going on in politics today. And if you're interested in getting the truth on a daily basis, well, you've made it to the right channel. All you need to do for yourself now is subscribe. Click that bell notification so you can get the latest and greatest information coming from Mostly Money, because we're going to always be here for you and your loved ones. Yes, we have Joe Manchin once again, just like he did with the third round of stimulus. All the rest of Congress wanted to make sure that you receive stimulus payments. It was Senator Joe Manchin who not only was holding up your stimulus payments, but he was the same one that kept you from getting $2,000 stimulus. But he is even standing even stronger when it comes to this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill.
You know, I guess the question I have, Garrett, for you is how alone is Joe Manchin? Is he representing 2 votes? Is it 10? You know, I will say this. What I thought he was doing was a bit of a trial balloon, and it's been intriguing on the silence from others, either total denouncing or total support.
Well, look, remember that Joe Manchin put up his biggest trial balloon on all of this the day the Senate left town after passing the infrastructure bill, when he came out with that first op-ed saying that he wouldn't be willing to go as high as $3.5 trillion. So he's been kind of periodically picking his head up during this recess period and reminding everyone he is still out here and he still has the same concerns. He's had some backup, or at least some of the same or similar concerns expressed by Kyrsten Sinema, the Democratic senator from Arizona, who was his ally on the infrastructure package and appears to be aligned with him here. And there's always a question on the House side whether those moderates, perhaps even that same group of 9 or 10 who pushed for the early vote on the infrastructure bill, might continue to cause problems for Speaker Pelosi in that chamber. Really, though, I think we are talking about a Senate issue. And the thing that sort of works for Manchin here is, even if he is alone, he likes that position. He is perfectly comfortable being a boogeyman to progressives. He can't be bullied on Twitter or in cable news primetime. That kind of thing doesn't move him. It only makes him stronger in his mind back home. And so if he is alone, he'll work with that. And I think it feels as though, and just knowing from covering him, that the rest of the party is going to have to ultimately come to him at some point and say, okay, Joe, what do you want in this bill? And then he can be in the position he likes to be as that kind of key wheeler dealer on getting something done.
Now, Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer, who are basically the strongest advocates of this up-and-coming infrastructure stimulus bill, they are saying that they are not going to slow down because what's taking place with Joe Manchin. And even though Joe Manchin has already said that he's not going to support it, the question remains then, what's going to happen next? The same thing that happened with most bills. When it comes to congressmen, usually they go to the media and say, I'm not going to support something. I don't believe in it. I don't think it's going to take place. It shouldn't be done. Until they have their secret meetings, they sit down, just like with the third stimulus payments, sit down, ask what Joe Manchin wanted, Joe Manchin wanted monies for a program for his wife. So that's what ended up happening. Immediately, all of a sudden, Joe Manchin changed his mind. I support stimulus payments the third go around. The bill was passed and we receive a third round of stimulus checks. It's going to be the exact same way this go around. Even though he's crying like a baby about not supporting the 3.5 infrastructure bill that will support many of us Americans, he's still going to hold strong until they ask him, what is it that you want, Joe Manchin? They're going to give him what he wants, and then the bill is going to pass. Now, will it be 3.5? We don't know, but it's still going to be a large bill passed. Now, until that bill is passed, there is stateside money that's been given to each one of the states in the billions for individuals to receive rent and utility relief. And we know that most of the states have fallen behind and dropped the ball when it comes to making sure that you receive your monies. It's landlords and property owners that are suffering just as bad, if not even more.
New York now boasts the strongest tenant protections in the nation. Governor Hochul signed a law extending the eviction moratorium. But CBS 2's Carolyn Gussoff reports struggling landlords say nearly 2 years of no rent is too long.
Landlord Eric Thompson worries he can't hold on to his Lindenhurst home. A tenant won't pay rent and won't get out despite his offers.
To forgive the rent and give her money to move? She's like, no, I'm staying.
While he's paying all the utilities, taxes, mortgage, and maintenance.
I've broken down and cried so many times about this. I can't believe everything I worked for the last 18 years. I'm giving it away to somebody else.
Thompson says the tenant, who lists her employment as a substitute teacher and tutor, stopped paying $2,000 a month a year ago, citing the pandemic.
Are you not working? Do you want to give your side of the story?
I'm not interested right now, and I would like you to leave, please.
I get the whole hardship. I also lost my job this year, and I'm taking away people's plates right now for a living. If anyone's in hardship, there are plenty of jobs out there.
And now New York's eviction moratorium is extended until January. Governor Hochul citing the continuing pandemic and heartless Supreme Court ruling. The extension needed, say supporters, because of stalled rent relief.
The feds gave us money. They gave us money to give to renters, and New York State failed. We did not give it out. We have to make sure people get that money to help the landlords as well.
The extension will give some 800,000 households that are behind in rent more time to apply for relief, and landlords the ability to challenge hardship claims in court. But it won't be quick. Courts have backlogs or simple, says real estate attorney Richard Apat.
The burden of proof is going to be on the landlord. The landlord's going to have to show that somebody doesn't have income, somebody doesn't have assets or the ability to pay.
Several Democrats opposed extending the moratorium.
There's two vulnerable populations. There's the tenant population and there's the small landlords. And on Long Island, we have a lot of landlords can barely pay their taxes.
Like Thompson, who now has to sell his house.
There was a text message some time ago. I love your house. I would love to buy it from you.
From the tenant who owes thousands in back rent. In Lindenhurst, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS 2 News.
So now let's think about it. If you owned a piece of property that you worked so hard for and you rented that piece of property out, and all of a sudden the person that lived in there basically was telling you, you can't come here, you can't put me out. I'm not the one that has to pay taxes on it. I'm not the one that has to do repairs on your piece of property. I'm still going to stay in your place absolutely free for almost 2 years. How would you feel about that? A lot of times we fail to realize what landlords are going through because we're so busy focusing on what we're going through as tenants. So at the end of the day, guys, that stateside citywide money is still available. It's still being dispersed. So if you are an individual that has not emailed me yet in regards to getting the list of all 50 states that has the programs, I'll create the list. It was a brand new list that I just created. So the updated list I have right now, all you need to do is just email me and I'll make sure that you receive that updated list so you be able to reach out in your state for rent and utility relief that's available right now. Now, when it comes to relief in the next round of stimulus, there is an organization out there, as we spoke about yesterday, which is the Senior Citizens League, and they are putting together a group that's going to lobby Congress to fight for a $1,400 stimulus payment for those that are on SSI, SSDI, Retired Railroad, Representative Payee, and VA, as well as those that are disabled, retired, or survivors. They want to make sure that you guys receive $1,400. Even though you're going to get the COLA increase, the cost of living adjustment of 6.5, they know that it's going to be too little, too late.
Virgis Glover is one of many U.S. senior citizens who worked, contributed to society, and believed that Social Security would be enough to live in her later years. At 72, she realizes it's not.
They help a lot, especially now they're giving us produce. And I bought a new food process, like the Ninja or the New Wave.
Virgis is talking about the Pantry of Broward, an organization that distributes food to senior citizens in South Florida. Even before a poll by the University of Michigan found 1 in 7 adults between the ages of 50 and 80 in the U.S. was already struggling to get enough food because of cost or other issues. That's about 14% of the older population. Among African Americans and Latinos, the rate of food insecurity was even higher, 22%. Now with the COVID-19 outbreak pushing food prices up, appeals for help are way up too.
I will tell you that we had to bring on 3 additional phone receptionists to help us answer the phone because we're getting calls close to 50 and 60 people a day asking us how can they get food, when is our next distribution, how can they be put on the list. So, 5 times, 6 times the rate of what we were seeing prior to.
It's become a collective effort. Other organizations and local businesses are donating produce and dry goods,
which is what's making ends meet for us each week. The food drive that we received today is filled with items that we gave them that we were in desperate need of. So these are things like our pastas, our rices, our canned vegetables, anything that has a shelf life that they can then add with the fruits and vegetables and the proteins that we're giving to them as well into their box.
A roofing company was a pantry's angel this week, delivering the critical supplies.
Now, I know many of you who are younger are saying that, hey, Andre, we all need stimulus. We're all going through it. However, those that are retired are not going through it like the rest of us. And they collected over 100 stories of what seniors were going through over a week-long period. 50% of those seniors decided that they were going to only eat 1 meal a day. Also said that they had to cut down on their medical expenses. Even though it's required medicine that they need to take, they just couldn't afford to pay for it. Also, when it comes to seniors, do realize seniors don't have the ability like many of us to go out and get a second job or a third job to kind of help make ends meet. Seniors don't have that option, as well as those that are on disability and survivors. Yeah, they can get a part-time job, but as far as going out and getting a full-time job, many of us can get a full-time job at a corporation or even 2 part-time jobs at a location. We can impact our own economics. There are over 10 million jobs that are out there available right now that we can take advantage of. That doesn't mean that all seniors can take advantage of it. Another reason why seniors should be the first ones to receive a stimulus if a stimulus bill is passed is because seniors are the ones that have to deal with the increase of medical expenses, at the same time the increase of medical insurance, dealing with inflation at the same time, food and rental increase without having the ability to go out and impact their own economics by going out and get another job, as I just mentioned. If you make more money that crosses over the threshold, you can be threatened with losing your Social Security. So a lot of seniors are living in financial prisons due to the fact that they cannot do the exact same thing economically that many of us are still able to do. So when it comes to this next round of stimulus, I can understand why the Senior Citizens League is putting its money where its mouth is, going forth and fighting and lobbying for a stimulus package that can at least take care of those that are on SSI, SSDI, VA, Retire Railroad, Representative Payee, Disability, retirees, as well as survivors. I can understand why. And hopefully this goes through as well as any other stimulus bill. Hopefully this works for them as well as any other stimulus bill for the rest of us. Well, my name is Andre, and you're watching Mostly Money, where I'm going to give you all facts, no fake, no phony, and no fluffed up information when it comes to this next round of stimulus negotiations and what's going on in politics today. And if you're interested in getting the truth on a daily basis, well, you've come to the right channel. All you need to do for yourself now is subscribe. Click that bell notification so you get the latest and greatest information coming from Mostly Money, because I'm going to always be here for you and your loved ones. I'm going to the comments section. I'll see you guys there. If I don't get a chance to speak to you, you don't get a chance to speak to me, we're not going to fret about it, because I'll be speaking to you again